Good morning. My name is Briar. My partner's name is Zymara, and we're going to be talking about our project today. The goal of our project was to conduct a DNS spoofing attack by using ARP spoofing to intercept and manipulate network traffic between our victim machine and our attack machine. The purpose of this project was to demonstrate how an attack can redirect a victim's web traffic by using tools like dsniff and ARP spoof. Unfortunately, due to persistent network errors, the project was not successful. Part 1 of this project involved setting up the victim and attacker virtual machines. The specifications for these machines were kept pretty basic. Each machine utilized a Debian Linux operating system with 4 gigs of base memory and 4 processors each. Part 2 of this project focused on establishing an internal network that would allow the victim and the attack machine to communicate with each other. This was done by ensuring the adapter 1 interfaces were up and setting a static IP address for both machines, and then confirming the configuration of the machines. In part 3 of this project, that's where the breakdown occurred, when I was trying to download the dsniff tool, which is critical to the project as it contains the ARPSpoof tool that we needed. ARPSpoof would have been used to send forged ARP replies to the victim machine. The adapter 2 interface for our attack machine was configured to use NAT for internet access so that the dsniff may be installed. However, the adapter failed to receive any proper IP configuration, which left the machine unable to resolve domains. The interface was successfully brought up, but the sudo dhclient command would always return an error. In an attempt to mimic what a working DHCP lease might have done, I tried to assign a static IP to the interface using a series of commands. These steps should have resulted in the attack machine being assigned a static IP, establishing a reachable gateway, and being able to resolve DNS queries. However, the commands were mostly unsuccessful. I attempted a series of pings to try and pinpoint where the breakdown was occurring, but each ping returned an error that either specified that the destination host was unreachable or that there was a temporary failure in the name resolution. At this point, I began to question if I had configured the network adapters for the virtual machines properly. After running through the checklist though, it seemed to me that the network adapters for my machines were configured correctly, but the connectivity failures on the interfaces persisted. After repeated failures to install the dsniff tool, I attempted to perform an offline installation method. The ISO file was mounted to the machine's optical drive, but upon boot, the machine treated the ISO file like an installation disk and almost wiped the machine. Despite using several troubleshooting methods, I was unable to install the necessary tools needed in order to complete the DNS spoofing project. In an effort to pivot, we will now focus on the known Eternal Blue exploit. Eternal Blue is an exploit that targets a vulnerability in Microsoft's SMBv1 protocol. This new project will focus on leveraging this vulnerability to gain remote code execution access on a Windows 7 virtual machine. After using an ISO file to load Windows 7 on a virtual machine, I went through the basic setup for Windows. I then made some modifications to ensure that the Windows machine would remain as vulnerable as possible. I did this by disabling firewalls and automatic updates. I also changed the network adapter status of both my Kali machine and my Windows machine so that they would be on the same internal network. Given the difficulties I had with my last project, I wanted to be absolutely certain that both machines could communicate on the internal network, and I'm glad I did this because DHCP failed once again on my Windows 7 machine. However, I was able to adjust by establishing a static IP address on both machines. After launching Metasploit on Kali, I leveraged the SMB Eternal Blue known exploit to gain access to my Windows 7 virtual machine. In order to confirm that I had gained access, I used the command sysinfo to pull admin data from the Windows 7 machine. This included things like its name, operating system, and other identifiers. Also, just as another confirmation, I used the screenshot command to take a screenshot of my Windows 7 machine from my Kali machine. Thank you all for listening to my presentation. Let me know if you have any questions.